All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight is such a super special night for me. My name is Ashley Johnson. I am the CEO and founder of ANJPR Consulting, LLC. And tonight we are launching a wonderful program for the next 4 months for 24 women to experience a virtual experience of a lifetime, I would say. These 4 months will be spent with learning, personal, professional, and business development. And tonight we're going to celebrate the phenomenal ladies that have taken in the time to apply for this opportunity and that will experience just a growing experience, literally a growing experience internally, mentally, and for your business endeavors. So without further ado, we're going to get this launch party started. I'm so thankful to have a wonderful panel that's going to open up this virtual program of celebration. This panel is filled with millennial leaders who are making a difference in the community, and I can't wait to introduce them. But first, I want to have a moment of silence and pray before we get through this program. And so I want to first just thank God for today and really just reflect on what has happened this week, recognizing Breonna Taylor and her family. And so as I was reflecting, as we geared up for this launch, I thought about her family and I thought about how the 24 women that are selected for tonight will be able to make an impact and a difference and a change so that we can be better as a community of color. And so without further ado, I would like to just take a second to recognize Breonna and her family and then go forth in prayer. So would you all bow your heads with me? Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to experience another day full of abundant blessing, Father God. We thank you for this night of celebration to not only celebrate 24 women who have decided to participate in a program that will change their life, but we thank you for the 4 individuals who have also accepted the calling to share their jewels of how they have made an impact in the community with their organizations, with their brand. And we thank you for the resources that they're going to provide for us tonight. I ask a special blessing over the 24 women that will set aside time once a month to learn and to network and to build each other up, Father God. I ask that you protect their families. I ask that you protect their minds and their hearts, Father God. Allow them to reflect on this moment and say, thank you, God, for allowing me this opportunity, Father God. We thank you again for the opportunity to just be alive and to be a blessing to others. And we look forward to all the wonderful things that you have for us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So without further ado, we've got some viewers. I'm so excited because this panel discussion is going to be amazing. And the people a part of this panel are very, 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 very dynamic. When I tell you these folks have organizations, they're doing really great things within the community amongst students, youth, families, our peers. And so I'm so excited to get kicked off with that. And without further ado, we are going to transition into our panel discussion. We have Lamont Brown, Andrea Riles, Nick Harris, and Carter Sade. If you all could just take a second and share to the world what you do and how you have impacted the community with your organization. Very quickly, let's start with Carter.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining in with us tonight. Super excited to be here. Thank you, Ashley, for the invite. I am Carter Sade, the founder and CEO of Hey New Friends, which is a social circle organization for women in the DMV who are looking to cultivate lasting, resourceful, fun, and rewarding relationships. It's absolutely amazing, and if you're in the DMV, I would love to connect, but we'll get into it a little later.
Awesome. Nick?
Hey, what's going on, world? I'm Nick Harris. I'm founder of the Humble Takeover. Humble Takeover is a lifestyle and apparel brand that tells your story of the communities through our online blog and online platforms. Our lifestyle apparel is designed to tell your story and empower you to live humble through both your success and failure in life. And we recently launched Project Humble Takeover, where we grant high school seniors and HBCU students with scholarships, as well as we give back to the community by exposing the youth to multiple and different career opportunities.
Awesome. Okay, Lamont, how about you?
Cool. Peace. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Very happy to be here. My name is Lamond Image Brown. A lot of people know me as Image or IMAG. I'm a music artist. I'm born in Washington, D.C., and I'm also founder and CEO of the Swaliga Foundation. Swaliga is a tribal word. It means passion. What we do is help young people to find their passion at an early age through STEAM education. So basically, that's an acronym for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So we use things like music, photography, dance, stuff that they're really interested in, and we teach them the science behind it and what type of career pathways that they could go into. So education is really important, and that's what we do here at Swaliga.
Awesome. And last but not least, Annie.
Hey y'all, this is so dope. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Annie to Ashley. For those of you who don't know me, I am Andrea Page, and I am founder of my new Purpose Project, my new baby, Purpose Lust. And Purpose Lust essentially gets millennials, it encourages millennials and young people, and really just all people around to discover and activate their purpose, to move with passion, and to continue their pursuit. And so it is new. I'm fresh in the game with it, but I hope to encourage, inspire, and just pour into anybody that I come in contact with that you can walk in your purpose and make it sexy. So that's Purpose Lust in a nutshell.
Yes. So we got a comment that said, hey, loving the energy. So keep it up, you all. And so I just want to get right into it. What I love about this particular panel is we've got a lot of synergies, and specifically education is one. So I want to kick it off with Annie and Nick. You guys are both teachers. So Annie actually is in Houston, Texas. She is a special educator in, I think it's what's your high school?
Westside High School.
So, and she's been in the education advocacy space, and we're going to get into that, some awesome stuff that I didn't even know. And then Nick is also a teacher. And so he teaches high school, and he's in Baton Rouge. And so I want to talk to you about students specifically and how they're impacted with mentorship and leadership. Do you all feel that there is enough mentorship programs and leadership programs in and outside the classroom that promotes positive mental health? And I'm speaking specifically within low income Black communities of color. What has your experience been in education, and what have you seen thus far?
Nick, you want to go or you want me to take it?
As always, ladies first.
Okay. Yeah, somebody raise your hand.
Go ahead.
So, thank you for the space for us to talk about education, Ashley. So I've been in education unofficially for about 8 years now. I have traveled all over. I've been in South Africa, Montego Bay, working in education, Chicago, working in education. Now I am in H-Town working with students, but I have noticed in every space that there are, yes, a lot of programs that seek to mentor kids in low-income communities. However, many of those programs are not run by people who look like those students. And so are there a lot of programs? Absolutely. Are there effective programs? Maybe on paper, but I don't think there are too many programs with CEOs that look like us, or with stakeholders and leaders at the table who look like us. And so I think it's super important. I'm always, as much as I push purpose, I'm also pushing education for people who look like this panel, people who make up our viewers, to really go and volunteer. Even if you're like, I'm not a kid person, you know, it's so important. Everybody knows the importance of having a mentor that looks like them and that can feed their soul and feed their spirit. And when you don't know the struggle, when you don't know somebody's background, when you cannot relate, it's really hard for you to make decisions for them. And so to answer, yes, a lot of organizations with people who don't look like us, but there's so many of us who can make up those organizations or who can create our own. And so that's one of the reasons why Purpose Lust came to be, is because I wanted to be a face for little brown girls and Black girls and boys who look like me, to say, you can make it, you can walk in your purpose. I know you can do it because somebody poured into me and showed me that I could do it as well. So that's how I feel about it. no check in the box organizations. We don't do those. We want real workers, real people who are going to push the agenda.
Nick, you want to follow up?
And just like Andrea, yes. So right on the head, Andrea. So I've been in education. This is my 4th year, and I teach at a majority Black inner city school. And our high school is actually located right downtown in Baton Rouge. And she is exactly right. Being an educator, being a Black male educator, I really know our worth in the classroom. And I realize that every single day when I come to school, when I see what the students go to, they have a lot on their plate, and they do come from underrepresented neighborhoods, right? And it's true that they do have a lot of community-based organizations, but what they don't have is that exposure, because a lot of them, when they set their goals, they try to do better than their parents. But I realized that a lot of their parents didn't graduate high school, and so the fact if they graduate high school, then to them they have conquered a milestone in their life. But what they need is that one-on-one mentoring from a Black man to a Black child, or Black woman to a Black woman or Black young lady, to know that they can do it, and not just saying that you can do it, but here are the resources, and this is how you become that doctor you want to that you see on TV, because no one else in your family is a doctor, and this is how you become a lawyer. These are the tests you have to take. If you want to do a trade, that's fine, but these are the avenues you have to go to be successful in it, and just realize and tell them that nothing is wrong with that as long as you have a great business, you have great life skills, and you know how to monetize that business. And if you can do that, and if they see that, then their possibilities are endless. But that's what we need: a one-on-one people that look like them, doing things that they want to do, and then they can call them at any time for mentorship and then show them the way. I'm really big on, you teach them how to fish. They could fish for a long time. So we showed them how to invest, show them how to start a business, show them how to apply for college and write checks and all the things they're not getting at home. We will set the next generation up for success.
Well said, well said. And I want to get to Lamont, because Lamont has a organization that's been very vital in the DMV. ANJPR has actually had the pleasure to service the organization, and it focuses on after-school programming within elementary, middle school, and high school when it comes to STEAM. And STEAM, again, is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And so, Lamont, I want to talk to you about what your experience has been doing this programming for so long in these schools. Do you feel like minority students are encouraged to look into STEAM fields, or do you feel like your program has really alleviated that? Because we know that there's a lack of students who pursue science, engineering, technology career paths, as well as, thinking about it for college. So what has your experience been specifically with that in your organization?
Thank you, Ashley. Yeah. The representation is not there. You're talking about less than 10%. And whether it's something as simple as a teacher telling a kid, hey, you're not good at math, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Or planting those seeds that they can't do something. That's what we're up against. And I feel like Swaliga has really been a champion for giving young people that confidence. One of our goals with our program is as simple as efficacy, which is very similar to confidence. And that basically is getting young people to understand, like, yo, this is math, this is science. Like, it may seem complicated, but it's stuff that we see every single day, and it just needs to be presented in a different way. I got to be honest. So I studied architectural engineering in college, right? And if I'm being completely honest, I struggled. Like, it was tough. I literally got to a crossroads where the administration at the school, the dean of my school, called me into his office and was like, yeah, if you're serious about graduating, you got to do something different, because I was struggling. So for me, one of the things that helped me to get over that hump and to graduate through architectural engineering was music. you know, music was my passion. So I found ways to incorporate that into what I was doing, and to figure out how to learn this stuff, you know, started making songs about it and things like that. So what we do now with the young people is we're brutally honest. I tell them straight up, like, yo, it's hard, it's difficult, but it's absolutely worth it, you know. And we're in a very unique place in our society now where there are careers that are being created that didn't even exist 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So the playing field is becoming more level. And I stress that to my students as well. I'm like, yo, look, you're in a prime position now where if there's something that you love to do, if there's something that you're interested in, you can make that your thing. You know, you can get a job doing that, create a career if it doesn't even exist yet, or the next level is to start a business, you know, provide that need, fill that need for other people in the community. So I think it's been super important for us to really just bridge the gap between what's possible and being visible. Like I walk in a classroom and I'll be like, how many kids in here know an engineer? Like how many people know somebody that is an actual engineer? And there's so many different types. And unfortunately, the answer is usually no. Like they don't know a lot of engineers in the communities that we work in. So that's been something that we're very intentional about as well. Like I make sure that I'm visible. And they may see me rapping, they may see me wearing like a hoodie or whatever, but I tell them like, yo, I got a degree in engineering, you know, and you can do it too and probably get better grades than I did. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, especially somebody told me that with COVID-19, the babies at this point are probably going to be smarter, the most smartest generation because they're using technology. So I truly believe that. And I wanted to start the panel off about students because that is how I got far, was because I was in mentorship programs when I was in middle school, high school. I had my family made sure that I was a part of organizations or that I connected with the teacher at the class if I had struggled with math. And so that's very important. And the women that are part of this cohort are also mothers. And so it's important that we talk about that as well, because it starts with the youth. It really does when we talk about impact and we talk about change, because they are future leaders. So I just want to thank you all for your leadership and, molding these young people to show them the possibilities. I always talk about that. It's so important that we show each other the possibilities. And I want to get into it with Carter, because Carter, we talk about mentorship with youth, but it's important that we mentor each other as peers and as adults. And so Carter has created this wonderful organization, and it's called Hey New Friend. And the organization allows for women to come together in fellowship and to learn from each other and to do different activities within the DMV area. And so my question to you, Carter, is, you're from Michigan, you moved to the DMV area, you do your college degree. And so I wondered, did you have mentors when you were raised and you were growing up? And if so, is that what motivated you to create your own organization within the DMV area?
So it's very interesting because I come from a small town in Michigan, low income community for sure. And it's always like, I don't know if you guys have heard of a book called The Tale of the Twin Cities, but it's like my city and then it's a city called St. Joseph, and we're connected by a bridge. And so it's low income, really wealthy, Black people, white folks. That's just really how it is. And so growing up, shout out to the Deltas. I am not a Delta, but that's who raised me. I attended all of their events. Those were my mentors. They had a very big hand in my community, and I'm very thankful for it. So yes, I was Miss Deltine, Miss Delta Doll. I was like all of these different things. But I grew up with my father, and I share my story all the time. It's like my parents divorced when I was in the 3rd grade. It was very tough for my mother. She moved to Virginia. She moved me with her. I absolutely hated it. Sorry, but I hated Virginia, and I cried every day. And so she went ahead and said, it's going to break my heart, but it's going to make you happy. And so she let me move with my father. So my father raised me from middle school to high school. And when I went to college, I decided to go to school in Virginia to be closer to her. That's how I got to the DMV. But my mentorship circle, my mother was, don't get me wrong, she was still very present, but we were living in 2 different states. So I had to have a lot of community support. And it was from the Deltas. When I got to high school, unfortunately, it was still through them because I got to participate with them in my community, but my father wanted me to have a better education. So he sent me to the school across the bridge. And I had to drive every morning. He would drive me and drop me off. And when I got there, the school counselors did not help me.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so a lot of the scholarships that my friends were getting at the other schools, I didn't even know existed because my counselors, they didn't help me. And my parents I'm first generation. So they had no clue where to start about my college career. And so like I said, I'm thankful for the community support that I did have, but I didn't have a lot of it. But the people that were there were key players, and special thank you to my parents there, maybe my friends' parents, because they were my parents too. And they looked out for me and gave me mentorship. But to answer your second part of the question, I created Hey New Friends because I came to the DMV and I knew absolutely nobody. So I was really bored and tired of being in the house, and I wanted to be embedded in the community. I knew that I wanted the DMV, DC particularly, to be my home, and I wanted to have an imprint in my community. And there was no way for me to get involved without like really getting to know people. So I just started putting myself out there. And then I realized that there are a lot of transplants in the DMV, a lot of people who are not from here like myself and are looking for ways to give back and get connected. So me creating Hey New Friends was super awesome because I'm like the connection, the bridge there, the gap. I fill in the gap and I stand in and I provide them with opportunities and spaces that they can show up and build their roots in their communities.
That's great. That is one thing about the DMV area. It's so many different folks. I truly believe Howard University has a vital role in that. And I love the fact that it's people from different, literally areas. I mean,
definitely transient.
Midwest, West Coast. It's one of those areas where you're going to find a lot of really great Black professionals like yourself. So I love that idea. You saw a problem and you alleviated it by creating your own organization. And that's awesome. That's super awesome. So I want to get into it with Annie. So you already mentioned that you started Purposeless, and that is very new. And I must say, when I was looking at your brand and seeing how you have just flourished with this whole initiative, I was quite impressed. But then I got really, really impressed when I was able to read your bio and see that you had worked under First Lady under the Obama administration, and then also traveling to Cape Town and then to South Africa with your organization that you work for, One Heart Source. And that organization really focused on mentorship and youth advocacy. And so I wanted to understand, how did you come from working for these organizations, being very vital in education, to saying, hey, I want to create my own brand. I want to inspire women and men. Tell us how you got there. And was there synergies or inspiration from your career path to your organization now?
Okay, absolutely. First of all, shout out to the Obamas. I just pray for the day that we can get them back in. But until we do that, y'all register to vote. Okay, so now that that's out the way, I have always been a cheerleader, literally and figuratively. So I've been cheering all my life. Cheer from, when I was a little nugget through college. And then, sorry, are y'all getting feedback on my end? No, we're good? Okay. Through college and figuratively, because every time I come in contact with anybody, I just want to champion for the next person, because it feels good and people have done that for me in my life. And so I've always been the person to say, go, 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 run, get it. And I'm here in your corner. And so when I began working in One Heart Source in Cape Town, South Africa, in Montego Bay, Jamaica, I was actually a junior at Howard University. Shout out to the home team. And I had no idea I wanted to go into education. I just knew that I love people. And so one of my friends, Ebony Williams, she is my Howard sis, she went and she volunteered and she came back and said, Annie, you would love it. It's so dope. You can be people and you can also educate the babies. And I was like, listen, I'm not here for educated kids, but I went, y'all, and the disparities there are crazy, and we can have a whole nother conversation about that. But it looks a lot like everywhere else in the world. There are a certain group of people who are educating our kids, and that's just simply not the answer. That's not okay when I have the means to be able to do something about it. So I went there and I started volunteering, and I started for 4 weeks. Then I went back the next summer for 2 months, and then I became a program coordinator or director the following year, and I remained there for another year or two. And I just loved it. I love being able to serve people, and not in like this savior complex mentality, because that's corny. That's not what I was doing it for. I was truly doing it because I saw that there there was potential in this kid and this kid and this volunteer. And so I'm going to champion and support that. And so I had done that for a few years, and my mom jumped into working at the White House and interning at the White House. My mom called me one day and said, "You have to apply, do it. I said, "Mom, I don't have the qualifications." She said, "Yes, you do, because you have God, and we had a talk, so you better apply." I said, "Okay." I applied, and I was able to work in the office of the First Lady, and I did correspondence. So literally, anytime somebody would call and get through to our office, I was talking with them. I would talk to this elderly woman literally every day, y'all. I don't know how she got the number, but just walking her through her life process. There were babies who were writing, and by babies I mean young people who were writing to the First Lady about how much she's impacted them. And so, majority of the letters I wrote come back to them, but there were, each week I got the opportunity to send her, the First Lady, Michelle Obama, 3 letters for her to handwrite and send back to them. So literally, in every space that I was in, I was just doing something for the next person, whether that was educating and pushing the babies higher, whether that was supporting the American citizens, whether that was making my mom laugh or my friends smile. I'd always been in that space. And so God had dropped the word purpose in my spirit a few years ago. And I'm like, okay, cool. I know that I'm purpose with something, but what is my purpose? And he very clearly gave me purpose plus. Your purpose is literally, your purpose in life is to help others push their purpose, help others walk and activate their purpose. And so that's how I came to Purposeless. I didn't ask to do it. It wasn't something that I was trying to force, but I've just always been in a space where I want to see people do well, whether it's youth, the elderly, especially people who look like me. I want you to do well because I'm doing well and people support me and people have pushed my purpose. And so I wanted to be a purpose partner to my purpose partners all over the world. And so that's how I came to Purposeless.
That's awesome. And that is one thing I have to say. You have been your whole demeanor and aura has been consistent from the moment I met you. When you say you're a cheerleader, you're literally a cheerleader.
Thank you.
It's so rare nowadays because people don't want to cheer for other folks.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. So it's kind of like, oh my God, like your type of energy is kind of like a shock for people, and that should be the status quo. And so I just want to thank you for that type of consistent heart that you have, because it's pure, it's real, and it makes people want to gravitate towards you and be a part of what you're doing. So I just wanted to say that verbally, and I haven't talked to you in years.
Wow.
But it's just so crazy that, again, you're literally, when you say you're a cheerleader, you are a true cheerleader. So keep it up. Keep it up.
Keep it up. And listen, I can copy and paste what you said and give it back to you because you have also remained consistent, and I appreciate that about you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So moving right along, because I know these ladies are excited to see what surprise we have for them. But I want to go over with Nick, his brand, The Humble Takeover, Conquering the World. I have had the opportunity to receive his apparel. And I tell you something, apparel really is a way of manifestation. It's a way of shifting your mindset sometimes when you don't feel like working out, but then you put on a shirt, Humble Takeover, you doing your jump rope. So I just want to say, I'm so excited for your brand and how it has evolved. I know that you are also in the beginning stages. So tell us about Humble Takeover. Are you guys getting feedback on my end? A little bit? Okay. Tell us about Humble Takeover and how you've been able to collect stories to inspire others. Okay.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Gotcha. Can you all hear me? We were getting a little feedback. All right.
I think we lost Nick, guys. So hopefully he'll come back, but we'll pivot because, we have to pivot in this virtual world. So let's turn it over to Lamont. And while Nick is back in the stream, we can circle back to this question. So Lamont, I want you to talk about the Swaliga Foundation, the fact that you've been able to evolve your organization from teaching students and families STEAM within America, but you also have a global initiative. You have traveled to South Africa. You have a culture exchange program that you've been doing for many years now. How have you been able to grow and bridge STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics? Just want to test to make sure I had it, and take it to a global space.
With prayer and God, to be completely honest. But in all seriousness, I went to South Africa for the first time in 2015, and it absolutely changed my life, like forever. The feeling, the vibe, everything was just different, you know. And the group that I went with, it was actually a leadership summit. They heard about Swaliga Foundation. You know, we were founded in 2012, so we had been up and running for a few years. And the guy that organized the trip asked me, like, "Yo, would you want your students to have this experience?" And I was like, "Absolutely, everybody needs to experience this." And that's what kind of birthed the cultural exchange program. To be honest, like I didn't plan on doing a cultural exchange, but I definitely saw the need and the benefit of it, you know. And one of the things that stood out to me, like we work with young people throughout the school year, right? We meet with them at least once a week, and they love the program. They come back, they give us great feedback. But when we took that trip, literally just in that week that we were there in South Africa, I could see a difference in these young people, the way they talk, their confidence, the way they carried themselves. And when we got back home, their families commented on it as well. Like, yo, there is definitely a difference and how they're being perceived. So that's one of the confirmations that I needed to continue to do this. And what I will say, here we are now where things are so connected, it's actually easier to be connected globally. Like we're doing this live stream right now. Somebody could tune in from the other side of the world. Like you could just click a button and somebody in New Zealand or somebody in Cape Town can just jump in, which is dope. But as far as like running a business and keeping that, those connections, is actually a lot of work, you know, and there's actually a lot of research and things that I had to do to kind of prepare myself to build those relationships. Because we all know business is about relationships,
Yes.
right? So, and I'm talking to our mentees now, or the young ladies that are in this program. Like if you want to have a global brand, and that's not for everybody, but if you do want that, you're going to have to understand that you have to kind of take away any type of preconceived notions or any types of things that you think are proper, and you got to put that aside for a second and just listen, because there are people all over the world, whether they speak English or not. These are intelligent people that have already, you know, developed a certain way of thinking, a way of working, that could benefit you, but it may take a second to actually get on the same page. And I think that's something that I've struggled with even recently. You know, I've been doing this for years now, but it's a cultural dynamic that you have to be aware of anytime, no matter what country. We do a lot of work in South Africa, Rwanda, Ghana, Brazil, but whatever country, there's a certain dynamic. And we have it too, whether we realize it or not. Us here in the United States, as Americans, there's like a certain way that we've been programmed to think and to operate. So that's probably the most challenging thing that I've had to overcome, is just kind of humbling myself and really seeing how we both can benefit. Yeah, shout out Humble Takeover. How we can benefit from each other, you know. And I look for partners, you know, that understand that. And one of the things that stood out to me, I have partners in Africa that say, yo, there's always this thing where people are like, oh, we got to save Africa, or we need Americans to come give back. And they're like, nah, like Africa has a lot to give. You feel me? And you need people that understand that, because that's what creates a true partnership. So anytime, that would be my biggest suggestion or word of advice. Like anytime you're looking to grow your business, whether it's nationally or internationally, make sure you find people that not only have something to bring to the table, but that have that understanding, like, yo, I have a lot to give. I know a lot, but I'm willing to listen and to learn how I can work with somebody else to get to the same place. I mean, it's easier. That's the great thing about it. It's easier now more than ever to make those international connections and to reach out to people. You know, I think that's important.
Absolutely. And I want to say this, I can't say too much because I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I will say the Mentorship Circle is filled with all ages. We have old, young, whatever you want to say your age is, we got it. I'm telling you. And that's the beauty of mentorship, is that you can an old person can mentor me and a young person can mentor an old person. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how we create a legacy, and that's how we create wealth. And so I love that you kind of had a segue of humbly. So we're going to turn it back to Nick to talk about the Humble Takeover and how his brand has been collecting stories from different entrepreneurs, influencers, and to inspire others. And then I also want him to talk about his scholarship and how he thought about that as far as servitude to the community. I think you're on mute.
All right, guys. So I'm back. Hey, so again, I'm mute. All right. Can you all hear me? Good to go. Okay. So a little bit of story time. The Humble Takeover started back when I was at Southern University. I know I have a lot of HU in the building, but I graduated from Southern University. So it started back when I was at Southern, and the name Humble Takeover at the time just meant to move in silence, keep your head down, and be successful. And it was actually named that we gave to my class cabinet when I served as junior class president that year. And so we were known as the Humble Takeover. You know, we were that class that was going to make big strides on the campus, but we will do it in a humble way. As in, you won't see us coming, and when we come, we came. And so that followed us all the way to our senior year. And I had the pleasure of being the SGA president at Southern that the next year. We were known as the Humble Takeover Administration. You know, so even after graduation, the name Humble Takeover stayed with me. And I knew I wanted to do something with it. I wanted to start a brand and a company, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't have the guidance. It was an idea. So I remember I just went out and bought 1,200 wristbands. You know, no clear vision of what I wanted to do with the wristbands, but I got the wristbands, 1,200. I had Humble Takeover on one side and Conquer the World on the other, right? But those same wristbands stayed in my closet for about 3 years. And it wasn't until I started teaching around 2017, I started teaching and I became an educator. And no, it was not my first, it was not in my plan, my 10-year plan to become an educator. So that whole year was like, how did I get here? How did I start teaching? You know, I'm teaching people's kids right now. You know, that wasn't on my pathway. But the whole year, students taught me more about myself than I think I taught them that whole year. And if you know about teaching, as long as you don't drown your first year, then you were a successful first year teacher. And they taught me so much about myself. And it was the stories that the students told me every day in and out. They had stories of the hardship they were going through, the background, their family situation, and what they have to do at 15 and 16 years old that 30-year-old, 40-year-old people don't have to deal with. And that same year, 2018, I think I hit rock bottom. I was complacent. I was, you know, a lot of things were happening with my friends around me, and having so much going on in my life and coming to teach someone's kids, it is a task. And if you're a teacher, you know that you have to just wipe all that. You have to put the face on, because as soon as you get in class, they're coming with their problems. And so seeing their stories and then seeing the attitude they had and they got through their problems, it motivated me that whole year. You know, it made my problems minuscule to what they had to deal with at 15 and 16. And so I took those same 1,200 wristbands at the end of the year. I gave everyone in my school their wristband, and I told them that what the Humble Takeover is. And I just told them, like, you can do anything in this world. Don't let anything stop you, and you can conquer the world. And it was at that point I made it my point to set Humble Takeover as the platform for other people to tell their story in hopes of encouraging the younger generation, or like you all said, any age group, right? Because these same 15 and 16-year-old children inspired me. And so Humble Takeover now is our story, and it's your story through success and failure. And our lifestyle apparel, it just empowers you all to live humble through both your success and failure. And that means to not let success touch you. So no matter how successful you all get, don't stop. You know, you always can get knocked down. So you always have to be humble. And then you all especially for our mentees, whether it's a brand, a job, or a business, you will experience hard times, and that's what we learn from. It's how you get through them. And so when you are humble, just that means you know who you are. And when you experience failure, you only see it as a lesson, and you keep on pushing. And so that's what encouraged me to start Humble Takeover in 2019. We just made a year, and man, I'm so excited about that. You know, guys, when you all do your first year, or my ladies, thank you. So, ladies, when you all in your first year of business, it's different for everyone, and so it is good to get mentors. But the best experience is doing what you want to do or need to do each day to achieve the vision and goal for your brand or your business. And the year went by fast, but it was a day-to-day process of me putting in those extra hours, even after teaching, you know, and a teacher's job is never done. But I knew I wanted the vision for Humble Takeover to be, and I knew I wanted to tell thousands of stories of people in the community to empower the next generation. And so that's what Humble Takeover is. It is everyone, all our stories, and the brand is to inspire the world to keep on going, to live humble, and to conquer the world. And then the last thing, I started Project Humble Takeover as a way to give scholarships to graduating high school seniors and college students that attend HBCUs to keep it going, and to not let financial reason be the sole reason they don't get that degree and they don't accomplish their goals. And as well as we're working on boosting exposure in the community, especially the Black community. And so also Project Takeover will be that platform where the youth can see what they want to be in life. And so that's what Humble Takeover is.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome. And I just want to just have this last question and close it out to Carter. As we proceed with the program, I want to talk about the lack of mentorship within women. And so I wanted to get your perspective on that. And what areas do you feel like women lack mentorship? And how did your organization, Hey New Friends, alleviate that? And then to add to that, my question is, how can Black men serve as better mentors as well?
Okay, that was a loaded question. Definitely loaded. So the two, I think, trending topics that I see within my organization is that women lack mentorship when it comes to building businesses and building brands. Just speaking to what Nick said. Is it Nick? Did he just go away? Yes, he did go away. Yes. Speaking to what Nick said, a lot of the women in my organization had ideas, but they had no clue where to start, right? So a lot of them come from backgrounds where they just haven't seen it done before. And I could like definitely relate to that. And so the way that I alleviate that is that I host workshops with people. And I also have a talk show of my own that they're able to tune into, where I literally interview people such as yourself. So shout out to y'all for being on this. I might hit you up. But just to give them inspiration and resources to find their purpose in their life and to truly like follow that. And the second one that I will see is trending is in relationships. Women don't know how to be friends. And sometimes we don't even know how to be partners, like valid partners in our relationships. We don't know how to show up for ourselves at times. And so it's hard for us to speak up and say what it is that we need in our relationships from other people. And so what we've been doing lately actually is having these real talk, girl talk sessions where I've been bringing in different counselors, whether it's like a therapist or a psychologist, and we're having deep conversations about our genetic makeup, our triggers, and things in the way in which we show up in the world and why we think the way that we do. So that is like definitely like the turning point for me. It's actually been very eye-opening because the space is super intimate and the women are very transparent. If you are familiar with girl groups, a lot of people are skeptics. A lot of people are skeptics. They say women can be catty, but I can honestly say that our experience has been great. As big as the group is, like everybody respects one another, is super positive. And I always preach to them, like, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but you're going to respect somebody and you're going to find a friend within this group. So you might not find, like, you might not be best friends and everybody that's together hang out all the time, but you can find that one or two people in the group that you can link up with on the weekends and you can talk to them about your problems, or maybe someone that can mentor. Because like you said, peers can be mentors. And so I always tell them that they have gifts right in the group. They have talents right in the group. They have things that they can give to the world right now where they are. And I try to tell them to use it. Like, God gives us so many gifts and you're supposed to use your skills and everything that he gives you right now, like start today. And they always tell me that I'm super ambitious, but now I can see it. Like me speaking that, I see it showing up in all of their business ventures. I tell everybody isn't meant to be a business owner. For me, it was super hard with Hey New Friends because I knew that I was supposed to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't think of it in a traditional sense. I didn't want a traditional business. I knew that. I just wanted to talk to people. I wanted to be a host. I wanted to be a media personality. I wanted to be a connector. And I did not know what that looks like in terms of a business. So it's really cool to have those conversations about building brands and, centering your ideas to be something that you can monetize. And so, yeah, that's really, really why I really love the group now, because this is our second year where we're going into our third. And as we're starting to get as big as we are, more people are showing up. And it's cool to see the growth because I'm like, oh, she has a business now. Oh, he does this now. Well, not he, she does this now, but it's super great to see it. And so what was the third part of your question? Because it was a lot.
Well, there was a lot, but I also saw that you have like launched where people can be a part officially. What is that about? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so our anniversary, our 2-year anniversary was actually in July. And Hey New Friends for me, like I said, was a purpose project, a passion project, and I had no clue what I wanted to do with it. Again, I created it when I moved here because I wanted to get to know people and I wanted to get involved in the community. I wanted to figure out my place, like where I belonged here, if I wanted to make it home. And so for me, it was just a way to connect people. And once I started doing that, I realized that everybody wants to hang with me too, which was okay. But then I was like, well, I'm the friend, even in my regular friend circle. Like, if you're going to be my friend, then you're going to be her friend. So I'm going to bring all my friends together and then we all just going to be friends. And that's just how it's going to work. And so after like long and contemplating, because I can say that starting off, it was hard. I kind of doubted myself to see, I didn't know if people would really believe in the vision as much as I did. And that I can tell you right now that was just something that if you are doing that, just put it to the back of your mind, because if God gives you a vision and he puts it in your heart, like it's already going to excel. Like, he has already had big plans for this. And I had this vision for like 2 years before I even started it. Wow. And so, yeah, before I even started it. But the thing is, it wasn't going to be called Hey New Friends. It was going to be called Single in the City or Sexless in the City, just being honest, because like, I was like, okay, I'm single, I'm not dating, like, I'm going to hang with a bunch of women who are doing the same things and we can just get together and have a good time. But then I was like, I don't really like the name Sexless in the City. Like, I'm not going to run with that. That's another pivot. Like, don't just be so gung-ho on the name of your brand or your business, because it can change as your ideas change. If that was a lie, that just took me back as I remember that I really wanted a group called Sexless in the City, and we were going to have these pop-up shops. So now we have a membership community, and I wanted to just build that relationship. People ask me, how is it different from any other women's empowerment group? And I don't like the title Women's Empowerment Group. I am going to be 100% transparent. I was not always a woman's woman. And I will say that because I shared in the beginning that I grew up with my father. I was raised by men. And so I was just always like, okay, I didn't have a lot of great women mentors, but I had my best friends and their mothers were great. And as I got to college, some of my professors became my mentors, and I realized where I lacked. And I think it was because I did not have those relationships where I saw those like dynamic women on a day-to-day, that I think it made an insecurity in me. I just didn't want to be around it, And so when I came into contact with women who were like on it, I was just like, whoa, she's too much, And so, but really something in me wanted to strive to be as great as she was. And so it was so amazing when this came together, because I was just like, God, you already know this is just not my cup of tea. Like, it's not really my cup of tea, but you're continuing to gravitate and call me towards dealing with women. Like, why? And so I just accepted it. And once I accepted it, it just opened up a new world for me. And like, as much as I say that they're growing in my group, I'm growing with them. Like, I'm being challenged. I'm able to open myself up to more ideas so that the brand can be even better. I know sometimes they say when you are building a business, you know, protect your ideas because it can go another way. But like, if you lay the foundation with the vision that God has given you, it's okay to entertain conversations about ways that you can make it better, especially if it's getting the buy-in from the group. So once I started to get to that point, yes, I decided to launch a membership community because I realized that I had created a family. Like, you know, we were stamped without being stamped. So I was like, you know what? It's just time to make this official. We're going to be official because we've already felt like a group, like a clique, like, you know, a circle. But now we're going to have representation wherever we go. So we were already volunteering in the community. Shout out to my girlfriend's house in Capitol Heights, because we are now volunteering with them and their teams. And we're doing that from September to December, but we're going to do it next year as well. But we do every Saturday where we show up for the teen girls. And we're talking about teen domestic violence. So I love it. It's really great.
That is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And continue to be a leader within our community. And I know we're getting close to time, so I'm going to actually share this question as a closeout for each of you. How can we be better mentors to each other, to women and to men? Let's go to Lamont with your closeout.
Cool. Thank you, Ashley. First, again, I want to say thank you for having me. This has been awesome. Like, I definitely appreciate what everybody has shared. To answer your question, how can we be better mentors? I think it really boils down to communication and transparency. I think the best mentors that I've had have just been very raw, very real. Like, yo, this is what it is. And that has helped me to grow and helped me to kind of see where my weaknesses were so that I can improve. And I think for any mentor, it's a give and take, right? Like, you gotta really push, but know when to, you know, listen as well. And I think the same is for mentees. You know, I had to learn that too. Like, you can't always wait for your mentor to call you. Like, you gotta call your mentor sometime and check in. You know what I'm saying? See what's good. So I think again, communication and transparency are very important. And that's what we try to do with Squad League. Again, very open and honest with our students about, you know, what it takes to really make it to that next level so that people can adjust and have that full understanding. I think is so important. So we're always looking to support those types of initiatives, which is why I'm so happy to be on this panel and to support what ANJPR is doing. And this is something that is very needed right now because we're all in the process of leveling up, right? So you need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to be able to have that litmus test to see where you can grow and improve. Super important.
It's vital. It's so vital. And during a time of what's going on within the world, our minds are going crazy daily. Our businesses are impacted and also prospering. It's all about mindset. And so having the right mentor at this time is a game changer, in my personal opinion. So Annie, how can we be better mentors?
So I have to say, this is so dope. And I've been like writing stuff down. So if y'all see me look away, it's because I am also taking notes. And so I would say transparency, like Lamont said, for sure. And not just being transparent with our mentees, but also being transparent about where we are. Because sometimes mentees, even for my little mentee babies, and mine are in high school, early college, but they'll think I have it all together. And I think it's super important as mentors for us to say when we do not. For us to say, this is real work. You know, like, yes, you think I'm successful. Yes, you're looking for me, you know, to give you input and insight on what you got going on. But I have to be honest in saying I'm not all together in this area. That's when that give and take works. That's when we pull on each other and say, hey, mentee, I need you to hold me accountable to the things that I'm working on while I also push and hold you accountable. I think boundaries are also important. I think both mentee and mentor need to lay out the boundaries before beginning that relationship. I'm just saying things that are important to me, so I'm not going to expound too much, but boundaries for sure. Set those boundaries. What are you looking for? How would you like for me to mentor you? Do you want me in your space 24/7? Would you like to do a monthly check-in? What does that look like? I think also having multiple mentors is important, and this is the mentees, because there is not one person that's going to be able to satisfy all of your needs to get you where you want to go. So be open to imperfect people mentoring you. So I may have somebody who is a CEO for a in finance. I'm not in finance, I'm in education, but I need to get my finances in order. So I'm going to allow you to pour into me. I need someone to mentor me spiritually. I need someone to pour into me physically. I got physical and body goals, so just being open to not having somebody fulfill every single need that you have. And then my last thing is to be open to honesty and being open to headbutting. There are times when you may get a loving curse out, okay? There may be times when we're just not seeing eye to eye. Mentee, you may not like something that your mentor is saying or doing, or, oh, you said that wrong, I wasn't feeling that. Understand that in all relationships, that happens. And that's still a healthy relationship. Butting heads, not being a yes man is okay. Your mentor is not there to say, that's a great idea, keep at it. Your mentor is there to say, look, that's trash. Let's go back to the drawing board and figure out how to make this work for real. And you can be honest with your mentor as well and saying, you're saying I should do it this way, but that doesn't work for me. And so honesty, transparency, boundaries, and being open to multiple people and allowing yourself to pour into multiple people. And again,
thank you,
Ashley, this is so dope.
I love
so
it.
Dope.
Multiple mentors has gotten me to where I'm at. I love mentorship, and I love that mutually beneficial relationship. And so I'm going to have Carter close it out. I know, Nick, you were having technical difficulties with this final question of how can we be better mentors?
I actually loved every answer that you all shared. Definitely, you guys covered a lot, especially Andrea. Shout out to you. I personally think that we can be better mentors by, like you guys said, being transparent, but also allowing creatives to be creatives. I think feedback is important, but again, it goes back to that when someone comes to you and they tell you your idea, if you might not 100% understand it, don't just completely try to deviate from what it is if you don't necessarily understand the vision right away, but try to figure out, okay, where can I help him? Where can I help her to make this better? Like, make it more practical if that's what it is, but to give real pointers to help them get to the next level. And then also to the ability to redirect. I love the idea that you cannot have one person do everything. And so sometimes I think even as mentors, you feel like you have to be that resource or that connect for that person for everything. Once they choose you, you're like, okay, I got to help her do this or help him do this and that. But if you don't have it, if you don't have the tool in your toolbox, it's totally okay to let them know that so that they can go and get the help where they need. And so, like you said, we're not perfect people. We might not have all the answers, but you give what you got, and what you don't, you redirect. So that's how I'm doing it.
Yes, snaps to that. Thank you so much for those jewels. Let's give a virtual clap to this wonderful panel. Thank you all for sharing this experience for me. This is so monumental to be able to launch the Mentorship Circle. As Carter was saying, this is my passion purpose project. This is something that God sowed into me during a time of uncertainty. And so with healing, God has said, since I've healed you from all the things that you've been through, you have to be a blessing to other people. And so I am being a blessing to these 24 women by just putting wonderful people together to speak and motivate. We have some wonderful guest speakers. And so without further ado, I want to shift over to the celebration. Everybody grab your glass. Those that are tuning in virtually, we have the women here who are excited to unveil themselves to be a part of the Mentorship Circle. So I'm going to give you guys some time, because I know getting caught off guard, we're going to do. All right. It is time. So without further ado, I'm so excited to first introduce our team for the Mentorship Circle. We have our ambassadors, Ashley Clark, who is the pink team Mentorship Circle ambassador. She actually serves as our ANJPR PR, Public Relations Manager, and she has decided to step in and be ambassador. And we also have our ANJPR previous intern, Cashay Jackson, who is now a part of the team as our PR assistant. She is our Mentorship Circle producer. We have Janae Madrick, who is the entertainment and media manager for ANJPR Consulting, and she'll be representing the green team for the Mentorship Circle. And last but not least, our newest addition to ANJPR, our intern, Stephanie Brown. She will serve as our Mentorship Circle ambassador. So let's give a round of applause for them for stepping into the calling to be a part of this wonderful program. Next, we have the 24 women who have been selected for the Mentorship Circle. So we have 24 women who are across the United States. We have predominantly women from Maryland, but it's so exciting to see that we have all these women, all ages, all walks of life. Lillian Carr, who's from Maryland, Tiara Robinson from Maryland, Jordan Anderson from Maryland, Wasaba So Queen Wu, Sidibe from Maryland, Michelle Riddick representing the VA, Bridget Squire representing Maryland, Keeley Carter representing Maryland, Shatoria Christian representing Maryland, Christian Brown representing Washington, D.C., Tonia Mendez representing California, Nadine Collins representing the state of Georgia. We have Arana Iverson representing the state of California, Joanne Ramson representing the state of Maryland, Camila Reddick representing DC. We have Diamond Frazier coming from Maryland, Sassy Ways coming from Maryland, Sierra Edmonds representing New Jersey, Jasmine Seed representing New York. We have Skylar Mobley representing Virginia, Sienna Hall coming from Maryland, Sharon Osana representing Maryland, Shanicia Abrams representing Georgia, Jasmine Haney representing Virginia, and last but not least, Brittany Jett representing Illinois. So everybody take your glasses, panel, take your glasses as we celebrate these dynamic women. I'm so excited for you all to trust ANJPR to give you experience of a lifetime, a 4-month experience, a virtual experience during COVID-19, a global pandemic, but we're still pushing forward. We're still continuing to be leaders. We're still continuing to be change makers, advocates within our community. And so we celebrate you tonight. Cheers. Congratulations, ladies. We'll see you at our kickoff session on Sunday, this Sunday, from 7 o'clock to 9:30 p.m. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye, everyone.
Wait, are we
We're
still
still
here?
live, but congratulations, everybody.
All right, yeah.